Compact pickup trucks. If your customers have seen one, they've seen them all, right? Not if they've seen this one, the 1992 Isuzu pickup.
Hi, I'm Brian Block. Beside me are the competitors to the Isuzu S model pickup, our base model, the Q16 to be exact. We've chosen this model because it's our volume leader. We sell more of these than any other model pickup. People who buy this kind of truck are looking for something that's functional with good value, a high payload and a low price, areas where we excel. But there's other things they look for too, things that make owning and driving the vehicle that much more enjoyable. And it's these areas where we feel we have a distinct advantage over the competition.
How did Isuzu build a compact truck that combines modern aerodynamic styling with advanced engineering and quality in a way the competition just can't match? To find out, Insights went to Isuzu Technical Center of America.
It's just the level of finish or the amount of detail that goes into the base model version is a lot higher on Isuzu vehicles than some other vehicles.
We want to have a comfortable ride so that the customer is satisfied with the ride of the truck and feels good about driving it.
Then we went to the SIA assembly facility in Lafayette, Indiana, where American workers make sure our trucks meet Isuzu's exacting standards.
We try to look at it as the purchaser. Many of our associates in the plant do drive the vehicles. I have an Isuzu pickup truck myself, which I use to haul the kids and everything around. So I want that to be safe. I want it to be a good quality product.
You can design in quality, but not 100%. It's got to happen in the assembly factory. And I think we've got it. We've had it from day one here.
The 1992 Isuzu pickup. Values back in style. The first thing you notice is its shape, aerodynamic and wind cheating. The hood is sloped and the wipers are recessed. The doors are aircraft style with drip rails built into the roof. It comes with many features as standard equipment that are not available at all on some of its competitors. Features like halogen headlamps, a center armrest in a bench seat that's contoured to keep you secure in turns, cloth interior, full carpeting, a locking glove compartment, and a thick three-spoke steering wheel that allows you to operate major controls without taking your hands off the wheel. Outside you'll find dual large breakaway mirrors. The cargo bed can hold 1,600 pounds of payload, and the rear of the vehicle looks good even without a bumper. And every Isuzu pickup comes with rear wheel anti-lock, so you can stop sure and straight, wet or dry, loaded or unloaded. To Isuzu, aerodynamic design is more than just skin deep. It means fuel efficiency, an impressive 20 miles per gallon city and 24 miles per gallon highway. It means a quieter ride, more available power for passing, and it means modern, muscular good looks.
Front ends historically have been a company's image. And with this front end, we tried to maintain a lot of Isuzu's design cues. We wanted kind of a smooth profile, a little lower front end, quite round to make it aerodynamic. On the Isuzu is a little bit more raked than most trucks, which are out here vertically. The reason we do that is because we've lowered the glass on the side, we want to tie in the bottom of that glass with the edge of the hood and give it a smoother profile over the cab. One, for aerodynamics, and also to soften it visually and make it look smoother and more aerodynamic.
Aerodynamic design is just one of the advantages Isuzu has over this competitor.
This is the Chevrolet S10 pickup. Introduced to the market in 1982, the S10 is a design that's been around for a while. Before the S10, Chevrolet sold the Love pickup, which was designed and built for Chevrolet by Isuzu from 1973 to 1984. Let's take a look at the design. Now, the first thing you notice about the S10 is that it's kind of got a blocky shape. The disadvantage to that is that the front end is almost vertical, which means that to the wind it looks like a brick. So aerodynamically it's not that efficient. On the highway it's going to be noisier than something that would be designed to be aerodynamic. Take a look at the shape of the hood. Again, a blocky design, almost a flat hood. And notice the mirrors. They're more like car mirrors. They're small. Now if you're pulling a trailer, you want to have a bigger mirror so you can see way out behind you. These mirrors aren't going to make that possible. Also, unlike the Isuzu mirrors, which are breakaway, these are more like break off. Let's take a look inside. Well, the first thing I notice when I get inside this vehicle is that the steering wheel is unbelievably close to me, and I have the seat all the way back. Now what this means is that I can't possibly reach anything on the dashboard without taking my hands off the steering wheel, like the lights or the ventilation controls. Also, the seat doesn't have an armrest like the Isuzu's does. And the floor is covered with a rubber mat, as opposed to the full carpeting that you get in the Isuzu. Now, the Chevy salesman is going to tell the customer that means you can hose the inside out, and since he uses this as a work truck, he'd probably want to do that. But what he probably won't tell the customer is that the mat doesn't go all the way back to the back of the cab. So when you hose it out, water is going to get under the mat, and you know what happens when you get a little puddle of water on metal? Rust. The headlight is just kind of placed in here. As a matter of fact, I can pull it down pretty easy. It's not molded to the interior of the car, and for some reason, it doesn't go all the way back to the back. The whole back here is exposed painted metal. When they say the base model, you really do get that feeling in this vehicle that it's the basic, bare bones model. Whether somebody spends a lot or a little for their vehicle, they still want it to look good. And one of the things that can make a vehicle look good is an integrated design. Now, if you look at the cab and the bed, there's a big gap here. I'm not sure what the purpose of this is, but one of the things that I can see is the gas tank, the drive shaft, the muffler, and I can clearly see that the S10 has a C-type frame as opposed to the Isuzu's box section frame. Now, a C-type frame means there's metal on three sides, the top, the side, and the bottom. It's shaped like a C, whereas the Isuzu's frame rails are box section, meaning metal on all four sides, like a box, obviously stronger. The design of the bed itself is similar to the Isuzu's. It's pretty clean design. It has the same type of cargo tie-down hooks. Our bed is a little bit wider though. Of course, we have a higher payload. One of the things that's not that convenient about this bed is this, which is a protrusion for the fuel filler. Wouldn't allow you to put a box directly down here. Would kind of make it awkward because you couldn't put something flat here. Overall, it's a nice, cleanly designed bed, and with the exception of this protrusion, it's pretty functional. But wait till you get a load of what's back here. Now, none of the pickups that we have here today come standard with a rear bumper, but at least some of them are finished, including the Isuzu. It's completely open. You can see everything from the spare tire, the exhaust pipe, and the C-type frame rails. And it definitely looks incomplete, like somebody forgot to put a piece on.
The Isuzu pickup features front ventilated disc brakes and rear wheel anti-lock brakes. And it has an independent double wishbone torsion bar front suspension with stabilizer bar and steering damper, a suspension specially tuned at ITCA for American roads.
We're looking at the front suspension on the pickup truck, the front part of the chassis. We can see here the stabilizer bar connects the right and the left-hand suspensions and is bolted to the frame. When the vehicle body rolls, the stabilizer bar helps to try and hold the vehicle body upright.
This is the Nissan pickup. Nissan began selling pickups in the United States under the Datsun name. This is a 1992 model. For 1993, the front grille will be changed a little bit and these slots will be eliminated. But it'll still have the same basic flat, square design. Like ours, the hood is sloped. Unlike ours, though, the windshield wipers are exposed where ours are recessed under the hood, which means that the wind will flow more smoothly over our front end than it will this, and plus it looks a little better. You'll notice that the Nissan doesn't have any vent windows like ours. Now, vent windows are nice if you're driving on a dusty road or if it's raining out and you want to get a little ventilation without getting wet. You can't do that with this type of window because you must open the whole window. It's got a pretty nice interior, and the bench seat, you'll notice, is completely flat, both the back part and the part you sit on, and there's also no center armrest. The steering wheel sticks out quite far, which for me is going to be uncomfortable. It'll be too close to my body, but I can reach the controls for the lights and the wipers from the steering wheel. Also, there's no locking glove box. It's got a well-designed cargo bed. It's very functional, although the payload on the Nissan is 1,400 pounds and on the Isuzu it's 1,600 pounds. It does have tie-down hooks, although they're the open variety, where ours are closed so that the rope could possibly slip off here. Also, Nissan makes a big deal about their tailgate being easily removed without tools. Remember, if you can remove it without tools, so can someone else.
At SIA, Isuzu's U.S. assembly plant, skilled craftsmen continue the tradition of quality that Isuzu has developed during its 77 years of truck building experience.
We build quality in the process, but we've got to check that everything is correct before it goes. As you come to in-process control at the final shipping line, you would first enter the wheel alignment area, and we would set your wheels in the proper order, and we would set the ride height. We would then set the headlight aim to comply with specifications. Then we'd move on to a thing called a steering radius checker. We'd crank the steering wheel all the way one way and all the way the other way and measure the angle at each side. Then we go to the brake tester, which is kind of a unique piece of machinery. The vehicle drives onto two platforms. The platforms drop out and the wheels rest on two serrated rollers. The rollers start by electric motor, and then the operator pushes the brake pedal so that the amount of resistive force can be measured directly. So we test that each brake actually works. Then we go to the free roller, where all the vehicle operations are tested. All the electrical things, we turn on the AC, we run the vehicle 70 miles an hour, make sure everything works. SI is better because of attention to detail. We set this as a target. We said this is what we need to have a trouble-free body structure, squeak-free, rattle-free body structure, and we're able to do it.
As I'm sure you can tell, this is the Ford pickup. Ford originally sold a mini pickup called the Courier, which was manufactured for them by Mazda. Then they went and designed their own, and this is probably not one of Ford's better ideas. But rather than giving it its own distinctive design, they chose to take a Ford F-150 style look and shrink it. And that's exactly what it looks like, a shrunken full-size truck. Totally flat grille, flat hood, almost a vertical windshield, wipers that are exposed, and the doors are not aircraft style, which means that it has this exposed drip rail, which is going to whistle when you're driving down the highway. Has a completely flat bench seat with no center armrest and no see-through headrests. Also, the lower cushion on the bench is kind of short, so it gives the illusion of having a lot of legroom when actually what you'd have is a short cushion. Let's look in the cargo area. The Ford's payload is 1,200 pounds, 400 pounds shy of the Isuzu's. Also, the design of the cargo bed makes it hard to put square boxes in because there's a lot of things sticking out. Plus, the bed itself is attached directly to the frame with these big bolts that are exposed. There's no tie-down hooks at all. Instead, there are holes that you could run a rope through and come out this real sharp-edged hole over here so that it would probably cut the rope eventually. Now, if you thought the Chevy had a plain back end, wait till you see this one. Not only can you see the spare tire, the C-type frame, the suspension and the exhaust, you can even see the wiring harness for the brake lights. Overall, not a pretty design.
Highly skilled associates are devoted to a philosophy of constant improvement. The care that goes into the final inspection makes certain that an Isuzu pickup exceeds the expectations of even the most discriminating consumer.
We generally start out with the vehicle by doing an interior and exterior inspection. That's for gaps, fits, correct what we call specification check, making sure that that model has everything that it's supposed to have on it. We do an engine compartment check where we make sure that the wires are running where they should, that the fuel lines aren't touching, that the brake lines aren't touching, that everything's going and routed where it should be. We also do an underbody check. We have people online that are called checkmen, and their job is to confirm that parts are put on specific areas and to check that vital items have been installed correctly. When you buy a new vehicle, you'll probably see bolts with different colored paint on them. Well, that's because that's somebody guaranteeing that they've checked that bolt and that it's been tightened. And you'll see sometimes 2 and 3 colors paint on a bolt to assure the quality before it comes off the line.
This is the Mazda B2200 pickup. It's a well-built truck, nice looking, and like ours, it has a box section type frame. But there are some differences. Let's take a look at them. First of all, the wipers are exposed, which means they're going to be more resistant to the wind and they don't look as integrated. The drip rails are stuck on the outside, which is going to create more noise at highway speeds. Notice the small mirrors. Now inside you have a vinyl seat. Now anybody who ever sat on vinyl in the summer knows what that means, hot and sticky. The back of the seat is a little bit contoured, but the bottom is completely flat. The headrests are not see-through. There's no lock on the glove compartment, but you do have a 3-spoke wheel and you can get to the controls relatively easily. The headliner is pretty complete. Overall, it's nicely finished inside. Let's look inside the cargo area. While it's a well-shaped and designed cargo area, the payload is only 1,400 pounds, 200 pounds less than the Isuzu's. The biggest weak point of the Mazda is the fact that it only has 85 horsepower and it really can't get out of its own way.
Customers not only want power and performance, they want payload. Bed design affects the way that a truck handles its cargo.
The functional aspects of a cargo truck or bed is that one, its location to the tire. and how it's able to carry the weight. The wheelbase is designed so that it is right in the middle of the cargo carrying area. From a load standpoint, it's very practical. Distributes the downward load equally in the cargo bed. And most pickup truck beds, they look like this with the wheels here. And what we've tried to do in the areas where there isn't a wheel arch or down in this corner is make it straight or square corner. A lot of pickup trucks round this corner off here for actually ease of manufacturing, but for the customer it's not so good. They can't set a piece of plywood in between there because it has that large radius.
This is the Mitsubishi Mighty Max pickup. Not a lot of people buy this truck, but they do look at it because it has good power and a good payload. As a matter of fact, the payload is equal to ours. Let's go over some of the differences between this and the Isuzu. First of all, you don't get halogen headlamps. It's a very blocky design, very square, unaerodynamic, and a very tacked together look. A lot of different panels for different things. The wipers are not recessed, they're exposed, so they're going to be noisy in the wind. You don't get vent windows. On the interior, you get a bench seat, no contour at all, and no center armrest. Also, it's vinyl of questionable taste, and the headrests are not see-through. There's no lock on the glove compartment, and the steering wheel sticks out quite far. Plus, it's a thin-rim, two-spoke design. Let's look in the cargo bed. While the Mitsubishi has a good payload, the cargo bed itself has a very tacked-together look. There's panels that are held on by screws, and the fuel filler takes up some critical room where you could put a box otherwise. Overall, the Mitsubishi really doesn't compare to the Isuzu.
Whether it's driving to the park with the kids or to work loaded with cargo, the Isuzu owner will notice a solid, confident ride.
The steering damper connects the steering box with the chassis of the vehicle, and the purpose of it is to take small vibrations that come up through the wheel into the steering system and damp those out. So in effect, when the steering starts to vibrate, the damper makes a force which stops that vibration from happening. That's typically the kind of vibration you'd feel as a shimmy in the steering wheel, and by putting this damper into the system, we damp out that shimmy so that it won't happen. It gives the vehicle a more refined, more high-quality feel. The pickup truck also has a rear wheel anti-lock system for the brakes to provide for safe and secure stopping. The rear wheel anti-lock system controls the braking of the rear wheels no matter what the load in the bed is or what the traction of the roadway is.
This is the Toyota pickup. You know, when you buy a Toyota, everybody knows you get a reliable, durable vehicle. But you get that when you buy an Isuzu too. So let's talk about what you don't get when you buy a base Toyota pickup. First of all, you don't get halogen headlamps, which light up the road better. You also don't get a right side rear view mirror, and you don't get concealed wipers. Let's look inside and see what you don't get in there. You don't get a cloth seat. You also don't get adjustable see-through headrests. You don't get carpeting. And you don't get a lock on a glove compartment. Let's move to the cargo bed. The Toyota does have a 40-pound higher payload, but you don't get Isuzu's long wheelbase for a smooth ride. All those things you don't get for a higher base price.
Over and over, competitor after competitor, the conclusion is the same. Isuzu pickup delivers compact pickup practicality with all the style and comfort of a sports sedan. Use the information in the May and June issues of Inroads magazine and your Just the Facts pocket guide, along with this Insights video, to prove to your prospects that with the Isuzu pickup, value's back in style.